So I found the easiest way to turn a grid into a map is to just plot points on a grid, and Geosoft will automatically turn it into a map. So I'm going to take these points in my database where data was collected, and it's very useful to overlay data points on your map so you know what anomalies in your map are real and what are maybe gridding artifacts between your lines. So now we go map tools, symbols, location plot. And it says this can only be done on a map. Do you want to change this grid to a map? Yes, please. It will keep the same name as the grid. In all honesty, I like to put all my grids onto one map. So the fact that it's now saying micro_reduce 2, I'm going to overlay other stuff as well. So it makes no real sense keeping this in the label. So I'm just going to call it the Karoo 2 map. So click OK. It's now saying to me, well, what mask channel do I want to use to create these data points? I just use the Z value that I used to create the grid. I'm going to put dots because the circles can get quite big, and I'm going to click OK. And now you can see my flight lines. So my flight lines were north-south. These tie lines are east-west every 10 kilometers. Now to make our map look nice, we're going to add some coordinates. And so what I did there is that I increased the size of this window. And if you click on this Earth button, it moves your grid to the middle. You can also scroll in and out on your mouse to zoom in and out. Okay, so let's create coordinates around it, or what many people in GIS call a base map. So you go Map Tools, Base Map, Draw Base Map, just click Next. Now you can choose if you want to give longitude and latitude markings around the edge, or just your X and Y markings. I'm going to stick with X and Y for now. So you go Reference Grid, Edge Ticks. So now you've got to figure out how often you want them to be around the edges. I know because I played with this yesterday that 10,000 works. Remember, this is meters, where down here would be in degrees. So don't put 0.1, else you're going to get a lot of different coordinates. I'm going to click Next. If you want to add a title for your grid, you could add it here. I'm often very lazy and I don't. Click Finish, and you can see it's put stuff on your map. Problem is that the labels are very small. So how do we make them bigger? You put your mouse over Map Manager and click on this pin so that this Map Manager stays in one place. Then click on the plus button, and you'll see under the base is where all these stuff that's now overlain on your map are located. If you click on north arrow, you can then click the north arrow on the map and drag it out. Sorry, mine is not wanting to for some reason. Let me do it again. Over there. Also the scale bar down at the bottom, we can move out. And title I didn't have, but it might be, no, okay. But again, our text is too small. So now my scale bar is selected. I go with my mouse over the selected region. I right click, I go edit. I right click, I go select all. I right click and I go text attributes, and I'm going to change the size to 4 to increase the size of the scale. And I'm then going to drag it down to so everything's not on top of each other. In all honesty, I don't usually ever leave the scale definition here, so I click on it and delete. And you might want to also delete the coordinate system. You can also see here the numbers are overlaying on each other, so I'm actually going to click on this 2.5 and just take it off. And you can see now I can actually read my scale. Please don't ever adjust the scale east-west or left-right, because then you're obviously changing the scale, and that doesn't make any sense. Let's go now increase the size of our coordinates. So if I go up here and I click on coordinates so that they're selected, I put my mouse over the selected area, right-click, edit, right-click, select all, right-click, text, and I change 2.5 to 4, and I click OK. Usually that's enough that you can actually see your coordinates now. Okay, the only other thing I wanted to do is, grid looks beautiful, but let's sunshade it so that it really makes it stand out. And so I'm just going to click Save Quick. Let's click Grid and Image, Display on Map, Grid. We're going to select from this drop-down our grid. And here I'm going to take off the smoothing just because, you never know what things are being smoothed. And I'm going to click on Shading. And I'm going to click Current Map. It's going to overlay on top of my current map. And you can see how much more features are highlighted with the sun shading. Sorry, I actually meant to show you, if we go back to Grid and Image, Display on Map and Grid, if you wanted to, you can come down here, click on more, click on shading effects, and change the inclination and declination that this is being shaded from. So you can play around with that. You can also add a color bar here, but let me show you also a different way to do that. If you go Map Tools, Symbols, Color Legend Bar, click here on your data layer, so choose your data layer that we're working with. It shows up as two now. I'm guessing one is the shaded, one is the not shaded. I'm just going to choose the first one. I'm going to put my color bar on this right-hand side here, so I'm going to leave it as a vertical color bar. Locate, you click, tell them where you want to put it. I think it's the bottom left or the bottom middle or the bottom right that it locates. Then you want to change your text size here to 4 and 4 so that you can actually read it. I take away my decimals to 0. And you want to give a label. So let's say TMI in brackets MT. So TMI stands for total magnetic intensity and nanoteslas is the units. And you click OK. And you can see it's loaded it over here. You can then take a screenshot of this if you want to put in a report, or you can go Map, Export, and you can, under this export format, change it to JPEG, sorry, PNG, but I often use KMZ because then it can go into Google Earth. Once you click on it, you're going to need to change your dots per inch because this will change the resolution. It will obviously make the file bigger, maybe harder to load. I usually don't go over 300 because else the file does get ridiculously big. Then you click OK and it will export it for you. So yeah, the next video we'll look at IGRF corrections to get these values down from 28,000, which is because of the Earth's magnetic field in South Africa. We'll also look at some filtering options.